Hello, my name is Timothy, and in this presentation, I will highlight Chapter 2, Teaching All Students from the Textbooks, Creating Literacy Instructions for All Students by Thomas G. Gurney, the 10th edition. And my first highlight from Chapter 2 will be first, principles for teaching economically disadvantaged children. First, we will get to know a little bit about these children. So school-age children who live below the official poverty level have a significant impact on their learning outcomes, and it affects their academic performance, and it makes them feel lack of effort and hope, and they have fewer opportunities to learn at home, and they have fewer resources for learning. However, poverty in and of itself does not mean that the children cannot and will not be successful in school. These children need appropriate resources for learning, and the best spot that we could give them and provide that for them to be success. And how to support economically disadvantaged children. And according to the textbooks, ways that we can support these children are first, the first one is build one-on-one relationship with your students. So it is important to build a positive relationship with like each and every one of our students, because it will help them develop their positive attitude toward learning, and it will build that trust. And if they trust us, then they are willing to learn from us, and then it will also help increase their effort of learning. And the second one is provide interesting tasks for students. For example, provide them with the hands-on activity, group project, performance assignment, research assignment, or the areas where the students are interested in. And then the third one is provide a safe, caring environment where students can develop the behavior they need to be successful in school. And there's a quote saying that stop telling students what to do and start teaching them how to do it. And the next one is build background and vocabulary, and it will help develop their vocabulary skills and create an atmosphere of success. So encourage students' effort and celebrate their success. And next one is make instructions explicit. So children from the low-income family or the low-income homes need direct explicit instructions, and then these children are less likely to get help from family members to complete their schoolwork, because sometimes the parents or the guardian have to work overtime and are like too tired to help them or with them. So as a teacher, we need to provide them with instruction explicit to help them to success. And then the next one is provide a balanced program. For example, it will help them develop skill tests and their other basic skills and strategies to be success, and provide access to books, magazines, and other reading materials. It will help improve their reading skills and engage them more in reading. And counteract the fourth grade slump. And according to the study of Children of Poverty, Charles Jacobs and Baldwin, 1990, beginning in the fourth grade, many poor students slum in several areas. So the best way to help these children is that to add opportunities for writing and reading in the contact areas, and making arrangements for tutoring, counseling, and family support. My second highlight will be students with learning disability. And according to the Individual with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEIAPL 108-446, the term learning disability means specific learning disability means a disorder in one or more of the basic psychological process involved in understanding or in using language, spoken or written, which disorder may manifest itself in an imperfect ability to listen, think, speak, read, write, spell, or to do mathematical calculations. And here are some characteristics of students with learning disabilities. For example, visual or auditory perceptual dysfunction, memory deficit, problem using language to learn, or all of these conditions. And some more characteristics include reading difficulty. The example will be dyslexia, and then attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, and ADHD is not classified as a learning disability, but it is a learning delay. And intellectual disabilities, the example will be like Down syndrome and slow learner, student with lower IQ scores, and the autism spectrum disorder, language and speech disorders, and students who are gifted and talented. So for these students, we must provide them with appropriate learning and interest level. This topic is very important for me because in my community, most parents or most adults are not familiar or not aware of children with learning disability. For example, if a child has like a language and speech disorder or a child is a slow learner, then sometimes the parents or the adult would ignore the fact that the child is needing help, but instead they will like compare the child, their child with other children, and it will make them feel disappointed. And another example is that children with like ADHD or children with emotional disorder. So if a child is like act out, like throw a tantrum and do not know how to control his emotions, that the adult will assume that this child is this child is like a bad kid, or he's like misbehaved, or this child need to be disciplined or need to be punished. So instead of like seeking help for the child and learn more about the child, why they act the way they act, so they will like ignore and just like punish the children instead. So this is something that I would like to share and educate my community about children with the learning disabilities or the learning delay. So as a teacher, the parents, I think it's very important to have an understanding of children with learning disabilities so that would help them and accommodate them in their learning to be success. And my third highlight will be a multicultural, culturally responsive approach to teaching our students. And according to the textbook, the United States is the most culturally and linguistically diverse nation in the world. And it is important for teachers to understand, value, and build on every student's culture and language, and including students' language. And including the students' language, like for me personally, is very helpful. I remember when I was in a middle school class, one of my teacher would find a dictionary in my home language and into English, and she allowed me to use it in the class. So whenever she introduced us with a new word, then I would look for the meaning of that word in my language. And when I understand the word in my language, it helped me understand the context and it helped me process the information very well. And then another example is that like in our culture, we don't address like older people and or people who are older than me by their name. So if they are teacher, we just address them as like Mr. Ma'am or teacher. We don't like say their name. It's considered disrespect. So when I first came to the United States, it was like very difficult for me to address my teacher by like say their name. So I would just sometimes will raise my hand and keep calling them like teacher, I need to go to the restroom, teacher, I need to like, and then one of the teacher, I don't remember the reason why she doesn't like people to call her teacher. So like whenever I call her teacher, she keeps reminding me like not to call her teacher, but to call her by her first name. So I have to learn it. And then she also like talked to me and asked about like why I keep calling her teacher. So I also like explain to her that in our culture we don't like say older people's name. So she like we just like try to get to learn about each other culture and try to adapt with each other's culture, and it's helpful. And then understanding students' diverse culture and approach to learning and responding can help prevent misunderstanding and hedge learning. And I also remember when one of my is ESL teacher, she has like a flag wall, like when she will put a picture of the flag that represent the country where her students are from. So the first day when I got into her class, she will ask me if I see my flag is up there on the floor, on the wall, and I say no, and then she asks me where I'm from, and then we search for um my flag on the internet, and then she print it out and then put it up on the wall. And then when I see my flag is up on the wall, it makes me feel warm, it makes me feel welcome, and it makes me feel belong, and makes me like want to come and learn together with other children in this classroom. Thank you.